I did really like how they tied in the mom and the maid.
But in that, though, I feel like the movie was a success. That's the little bit of a paradox I'm running into. So, like, us discussing it and us realizing the nuances.
Basically, what Miyazaki's trying to say is he basically did all these works and built this whole fantasy realm as a way to kind of escape his childhood trauma.
That was one of the worst anime endings I've ever seen, and probably one of the most mid to like low mid movies I've ever watched in anime.
I don't know if you guys have much context for the movie.
I have zero context for the movie.
I'll say I went into this movie completely blind.
I remember the first time watching it with Kyle Villamil.
Yeah.
And him and I were so flabbergasted that it would be interesting to hear yours and Brent's thoughts. If there's anything specific, I could maybe try to explain it through something that I researched, or yeah, that shit was just fucking whack.
So initial thoughts, Boy and the Heron, okay? I had no information on like the time period or the setting. Like I didn't know if it was supposed to be like a fantasy world. I don't know. I was having a hard time telling, like, was it based on like World War II is what it kind of felt like? Was it like feudal Japan? It was like a weird mix of stuff, and I had a really hard time like telling the setting. My second one was they show up to this was crazy to me. They show up to a new place, like a new land, damn near. They get off like the train or some shit. The very first thing is the dad already's got a new chick that's pregnant that looks somehow related to his first chick. And I'm like, wait, what's happening here? So that was alarming.
Fair.
And then the first thing, one of the very first things the new chick says to the kid is, "I'll be your new mom." Yeah? Like, I don't know if that's what I'm wanting to hear when my mom just died. And then the other thing I had written down is like art style and overall feel. It felt exactly like every other Studio Ghibli movie I've ever watched, which I think is
checks out.
I think it's good, yeah. But it even kind of had like they just kept to like, you know, like I guess how some movies or some different, like, you know, animation develops, like even like Fairy Tail, right? Like had old animation and then it kind of got better, or they changed the style to like the new, kept the core, but they changed it. They didn't really change anything. It looked the exact same as like Spirited Away, Ponyo, which is fine. Okay, this next one, bro, those old fucking ladies at like when you first meet them, they were creeping me. They were creeping me out so bad. What the F is with the creepy ass old ladies? Exclamation points. They freak me out. And then
Studio Ghibli literally does that in every movie. They do the old people so incredibly dirty for no reason.
True.
They really do. Because like for me, when I saw them, they reminded me of like the deformed short Titans from Attack on Titan. Like the super long nose deformed ones. I'm like, what the hell?
Well, the one reminded me of the old lady from Spirited Away. But then I don't know, man. The way they were moving and it was creepy, bro. It was straight up creep factor.
Every old person in a Studio Ghibli movie is like
they just absolutely violate them.
Grotesque individual, and it's like, wow.
Why?
He must have a weird thing with old people.
So the new mom and the old mom, they're related. They're sisters, right? That is confirmed. They're sisters.
Correct. Yes,
but at the beginning, I was kind of confused. I was just like, and it's also kind of, to me, it's kind of crazy, man. Your wife dies, so you're like, I marry the sister. Fuck it, you know. They look close enough.
Well, maybe let's take a small pause here, because.
And then I only have one more, and then that's it. Okay. And this is the last of my initial thoughts. So the one thing I did is I liked how respectful the kid was. I like how we stood on business, you know, with the fight in the beginning. One thing I was hella confused on though, so as soon as I said he stood on business, I was like, that was cool, you know. He fought them guys, he got a match, but he still was like, I ain't fucking around. But then I was confused of why the fuck he decided to smash his own head in with a rock And then I was like, is that just to get out of school? Like, what type of power play was that?
So that
So
one,
that
yeah,
is
after
my
deep reflection, I'm pretty sure it was to just get them in more trouble. The people who beat
That's
him
kind of
up.
what I thought.
Well, yes, but then in the same breath, he was like telling his dad, like, nah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Like, it's cool. It's cool. Like, he was acting all nonchalant about it. That was all a part of the
I think
scheme.
it was part of the ploy. I mean, his dad eventually found out who it was, but
yeah,
for the most part. But yeah, I did think that was a little confusing. Back in those days, and I'll tell you when those days were in a minute, but back in those days, it was customary for if your wife, if like your spouse dies, to marry the sister.
Okay, I was actually wondering that a little bit. Like, I even kind of thought I did have that kind of thought.
Yeah, so that was
That's just fucking crazy. If you didn't have a kid with your spouse that died, okay, you know what? It is what it is.
Well,
you
okay,
had a kid with
No,
that.
no, but here-
that kid that
I know,
turns
but-
into some southern ass shit of my new mom is my aunt. Like, that's
Was that-
fucking weird.
Back then too, like the sister, right? She's gonna actually have more love and attachment for her sister's son than some random girl would. Most likely, your sister would take better care of your child than a random girl do. Like,
so the whole show is, I've heard two different kind of things on the premise of the show, but one, it's all about the main director, and it's somewhat a little bit about his childhood, and then I guess it's also about how he feels about his, like, the work he's done while he was at Studio Ghibli. He was born in 1941, so which is actually, I believe, during World War I or II. So yes, the time period is essentially set right after World War II. It's always so crazy to me because, one, I mean, I feel like he was pretty respectful, and two, it's like, oh, I'm sorry that my dad makes a bunch of money. What would you like me to do about that? You know what I'm saying? Like,
dude, I'd be just trying to be his friend, bro. I'd be like, hey, man, let me come over to your crib. You know what I'm saying? Let me get some of that food, whatever you got over there.
So you're the leech. We got you now. We got you.
No. It could be a mutual friendship. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't got nothing to offer you.
Pause.
What?
It could be
What do I got to
mutual
offer
beneficial for both of us.
Yeah, he gives me money.
Okay,
I
whoa,
give
whoa,
him.
whoa.
I
That's
give
what
him
you're
good
saying.
friendship.
No, it's not. It is not.
That's what you were just saying.
That's
No.
You buy me
heard.
sweets, and then you can take my cheeks. Like, that's what I'm hearing
I
from you.
wasn't saying nothing about cheeks or sweets. I wasn't saying nothing about
I'm
any
sorry.
of that.
Maybe I've been watching too much Berserk.
You've been watching
That's
too
my
much
fault.
Berserk, too much
That's
Fire
Fire
Force.
Force. Yeah, that's my fault. And I want to say, after rewatching Boy and the Heron, it was actually really good, except for the ending.
Okay, so yeah, let's get into that a little bit because I have.
And
so
maybe
I have
that's
like
my
some,
hot take. I actually think it's really good, except for the ending.
As the movie developed, I started getting more issues. I said I feel like. I feel like that's kind of typical. I was saying it's kind of typical for Studio Ghibli movies, though. It's like the beginning, like whatever, but as it goes on, it's like they have more.
Yeah, it gets more and more crazy, and then typically it kind of has a nice concluding ending. What?
Well, depends on the ones, but some of them end bad. Like
no, they don't.
Dude, even the wolf girl we were talking about, that one ends kind of bad.
That was one.
This one ended kind of bad. And then, kind of to further your point, Blake, one of my first final thought was, what the hell was the ending?
Yeah,
it's that it seemed like so rushed, and then I didn't even understand what the point of at the end. I literally did not even understand what the point of the tower was, because the king bird just cuts the blocks in half. He just Hassan chops that shit.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell was that? And then I loved how all the other characters just spawned in ready to leave. Like, they had their bags packed. Like, the tower just starts crumbling. They're like, I'm here. We're ready to go.
Wait. So, I mean, I actually think most Studio Ghibli endings have a pretty vanilla ending. Like, there's no super big conclusion to him, if that makes sense. So I think this one kind of fit a Studio Ghibli movie where pretty much everything just goes back to normal. Like, that's just the ends.
Yeah, but yeah.
And then it kind of, like, I don't know why I'm just having this thought now, but everything kind of makes a little bit of sense if you look at it from, like, his perspective within the Studio Ghibli company. Like, he built this tower. He essentially built his own world that's kind of been, like, timeless in a sense. Like, the movies are still popular to this day. He's, like, 84. And, like, I don't know. I think he kind of thinks, like, everything is kind of crumbling in a sense. So that's why the tower essentially falls. But
then nothing happens. Like the way, because the way they describe it, right, is the uncle has been keeping like he has to do this. He literally said he has to do this every day to keep things in balance and in order.
And then the tower, though.
Yeah, but I thought, wasn't that not keeping? But the tower was like the collection of all the realms, or like all these realities.
The tower was more just his own world that he created. From what I
they did
understood.
not. Okay, they didn't. To me, I did not get that. I thought that the tower was what was keeping. Like the last thing I have written here is like, bro, this show left me with so many unanswered questions.
Yeah,
just so many unanswered questions. And then I guess I know we're kind of talking about it. Like if that was true, that's fine. That makes sense. I'm down. But like to me, that was not clear. Like to me, that tower was just like. To me, the tower was what was keeping all of the realities together, and he had to build it piece by piece, block by block, to keep everything taut.
No, the only reason I can see that, Kyle, just thinking about it, is because when you first get into the tower and you see all the those one frickin' what the heck is
the babies?
Yes. So that made it seem like it was an actual going out of the tower. Like those are spirits going to the outside to be born. So that's what I do think. Like I can see where you think that. I still do think that it's just the effect of the tower itself. But I don't know. It's
I do know what you mean. Like I mean it is pretty unclear. Like whether it's actually controls the entirety of like the world or is just within that tower. And then the why do they show essentially how babies are made, type of thing like that. You want to know what pissed me off the most in this movie? Okay, and the most confusing part to me is why when he goes to like the chamber where the sister mom is giving birth, why did he keep calling her mother, the sister?
She asked him to.
I know, but he never once did it. Was he just trying to persuade her? Because it seemed...
Yes, I think it was trying to get her to come back with him.
And I think he realized that he was like, he basically actually did love her, and he was trying to get her to come back. Also, speaking of that,
she said that she hated him.
Yeah, I was like, why did she say that? Yeah, I know. That's the thing that was blue. That was what I was gonna say. Like
that whole interaction was so fucking confusing to me. But I think they're both just trying to persuade each other. That's the realization I kind of came to. Like she said that because she wanted him to leave for the safety, like for his safety, and then he was saying what he was saying so that way she would come back with him. But it was so fucking confusing.
I was like, what the fuck?
It's like y'all both just did a complete 180 on me with no reason to do a complete 180. Okay,
no warning, no nothing.
And I do it took Mahito way too fucking long to realize that the red-haired girl was his actual mom.
All right.
Well, it took
for fucking ever.
Dude,
for him to realize that.
Ridiculous.
But they didn't even make a big deal about it. They didn't even like he didn't like come to this realization. He just knew. At the end, he's just like, bye, mother. I'm like,
no.
Like they didn't even tell.
She tells him.
at the end, right when they're getting ready to
No.
leave.
No. The
before
uncle
that.
tells Mahito's mom. She comes back and
Yeah, it's before the last meeting with the great
Oh,
uncle. Here's what I'm gonna chalk it to on why he could not think, like, have that realization that that was his mom so later in. Man has major brain fucking damage. He took the rock and bashed a portion of his logic of his brain to be like, this is my mother. Because it's fucking obvious.
Well, I know he's
So-
eating her
Yeah.
like PBJ, and he's like, the way my
Dude,
mom
by
used
the
to
way,
make
that
it.
was nasty as fuck. That was like butter and jelly and bread. And, like,
Hey,
what
man,
the fuck?
they're probably
And a lot of jelly, dude. The Heron, when you first see him transform,
Bro,
was
Dude.
disgusting.
why did they make him look like fucking Hoggle from Labyrinth? He looked like a fucking
Yeah.
goblin.
I did really like how they tied in the mom and the maid, and how they said, you know, years ago the mom went into the castle and like a year later she came out the happiest like you've ever seen her. It's because she saw Mahito.
I hate you for being able to point that out because I sure the fuck didn't.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
So the one maid was talking to the dad and saying Mahito's mom disappeared into the tower one day. She was
Oh, as a
missing
little
for a
girl?
year. Yeah, as a little girl. And she came out and she was like super happy and she hadn't aged, you know, at all. Well, the reason she was super happy was because she saw Mahito inside the tower.
My first hot take. That was one of the worst anime movies I've ever, like, endings I've ever seen. And probably one of the most mid to, like, low mid movies I've ever watched in anime. I did not enjoy it.
That's fair.
Yeah, it is fair. I mean, I had something similar. My hot take was that the movie genuinely served no purpose.
Yes!
And I guess combined with that is, well, no, yeah, I really just that.
You wanna know what's interesting though? The
What?
only reason I like it, like actually like the movie, is
Mhm.
because just after reading like kind of how the author
Yeah.
feels about his work at Studio Ghibli, is
Right.
pretty much exactly everything that
What
you
the
guys
movie.
have said. And so to me, I feel like he
So-
did what he set out to do, which I think
Right.
is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
now that
I
was
mean,
what I was
that-
getting ready to say. So like the movie, so this is a little bit of a paradox, I think, that I'm running into is what I am enjoying most about the movie is this conversation that we're having discussing our thoughts on how the movie did certain things and like how what we got from it and how it was kind of all different.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
but in that though, I feel like the movie was a success. That's the little bit of a paradox I'm running into. So like that would actually make it a pretty good movie. But like
Right.
as far as my enjoyment of watching it, I didn't really enjoy watching. There were certain parts of it I liked about it. I did like I kind of like the concept, but I didn't really like the ending. But then I guess like us discussing it and like us realizing the nuances that were there that I didn't see, that is actually really cool and really good, which would in turn actually make the movie good.
Like I said, I remember precisely when Kyle Villamil and I watched this movie in California, and
you're
we were supposed to go to bed early, and dude, we were just like up for an hour or two just discussing the movie and looking it up and like, what the fuck did I just watch? I feel like for every question that was answered, 4 more popped up, and like,
Right.
huh?
What's crazy about that though is I feel like it's like that actually to me that almost makes it a good movie. Like
Yeah, I
to a
agree.
degree.
Yeah.
Like especially if that's what the intent of it was for him, which I kind of feel like it might have been.
Yeah.
It's like I think he might have achieved his goal.
Yeah.
The only question I had after I watched it was, why the fuck did I agree to do this? Because I was thoroughly upset by the end of the movie because I'm like, that was an hour and a half. I'm never getting back.
Yeah, so I don't know. I kind of just looked it up, and this is what essentially Gemini is giving me. But
Oh God, AI. Here we go.
the main themes of the movie are grief and trauma, legacy and choice, comforting and flawed reality. It is a autobiographical reflection and responsibility. So it's basically, yeah, it was Miyazaki's farewell.
So this almost feels like this movie was really not meant. This movie was not meant for us. It was meant for like
Miyazaki,
him,
really.
basically. Yeah. Which though it's one of those things of like it's like art almost. Like you can just appreciate it as art, but not necessarily like it. Like it's not for you, right?
You
The art's not
respect
meant
it.
for you. But like but there's to me it's almost beauty in it. So that's the one thing I'll say about Studio Ghibli movies though. Is like I think they're all kind of like that, right? It's like
Yeah.
they're all kind of that way, you know.
I think this is a very good
But this one is.
synopsis, I guess. But through Mahito's journey, director Miyazaki reflects on his life using the metaphor of the magical tower to represent inherited structures that can be either a foundation or a trap. The film suggests that one must accept life's messiness and loss, making a conscious decision and carry on by creating something meaningful in the real world, even after great trauma. Basically, what Miyazaki's trying to say is he basically did all these works and built this whole fantasy realm as a way to kind of escape his childhood trauma. And he's essentially realizing that, no, I don't want to live in this fantasy world kind of anymore. You know, I want to just accept what happened and be okay with it. And, like, I do kind of get that from the movie.
Yeah, I can see that, and I can respect it. I mean, it's an outlet, and if that's what he needed to do, then I mean, I respect that. At least you're working through your issues then in a creative way.
Yeah.
And I mean, it may not be something that's personally my taste, but I can at least respect that, you know what, you did what you needed to do. I'll rephrase my hot take then, or retract a part of it and say that probably, like, it's not the worst anime movie that's ever been made. It's just not my personal favorite anime that I've ever watched.
Yeah, like I said, it's really strange. I'll say because, like I said, my hot takes were all kind of trashing on it a little bit, and as well, just because at the end I literally was sitting there, and not only it spanned more than just the one. 'Cause my other hot take that I have is like it spanned other Studio Ghibli movies because it was just like this is the second time, especially because I really liked the one. What's the one with the princess? I can't remember the name of the fucking
Mononoke?
show. Yes, that. I was like, you know, that one that was the one before Boy and the Heron that I watched. And so like my other hot take was just like Studio Ghibli's movies aren't worth the hype.
That's crazy, actually.
And
That's
most hooked.
and that well I'm gonna say and then I know, but let me say these and then I'll kind of say why I don't really believe them anymore. And then the other one is almost all Studio Ghibli movies endings suck. They can't finish. Which I know finishing can be hard, but like
I don't agree with that. I think Mononoke was. I think most of the Studio Ghibli movies endings are a little bit anticlimactic, but I
think they're very anticlimactic. But
not all of them, but I choose to believe that is intentional, which makes them good to me.
So I guess and like I said, that's kind of where I'm getting at by, like I said, by having this conversation. Almost what I have here is no longer true because the movies are actually accomplishing their goal. Because like the goal of it was to make you feel the way you feel and then discuss it or do research into the reasons behind the movie. And now knowing what you know, it makes the movie good, basically.
Yes. I think
Would I
Oh, go
ever
ahead.
watch them again? Most likely not. Like Boy and the Heron, I'm probably not watching. I'm probably not watching it again. I mean, maybe
I
I would
don't know.
watch it
You
with
might
somebody
want to
else.
watch. You might want to watch it again because after
Maybe that's a
watching it
good
the
point.
second
And
time,
then and knowing what you know,
yeah, I
yeah, that's a good
genuinely
point. Enjoyed
actually
it.
liked it. And I was funny enough. I was messaging
That's interesting.
a friend of mine, basically like, "Oh boy, about to watch Boy and the Heron again," and they're like, "Good luck, soldier." But then,
Right.
basically by the end, I was like, "Okay, I actually thoroughly enjoyed that." Like,
Yeah, it's like one of those you need. But yeah, I guess yeah, that's a good point.
We've gone over all the backstory of what's going on in the movie. I still like what I wrote for my hot takes because I find it funny.
Oh no.
Because I'm removing the background and context, and I'm writing my own story to what I actually saw in the movie.
Okay.
This was a chill hot take, and now I feel like Brunt's getting ready to get me to crash out. That's what I feel like he's gearing up for right now.
No. These
was
hot
kinda-
takes are based off what he watched, not necessarily
Yeah,
the meaning
not what I
behind
know.
what he watched. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I'm probably going to get a couple strays for this one. So, my hot take after watching the movie, not knowing that the boy was being written about, Miyazaki,
Mm-hmm.
the boy is a future fucking serial killer. The man carries a sharp ass knife, can build his own weapons, bashes his fucking head in with a rock to either get out of school or shit. This man is turning into a serial killer. That is just
How does that make him a serial killer?
It makes him
Bro,
resourceful.
It makes him
fashioned his
resourceful.
own bow, fucking had pinpoint accuracy. I mean,
How does that make him a serial killer, dude?
He's wielding a knife like a fucking maniac.
It's
Before
common
he got
for
the
people to carry pocket knives, and
Bro,
and pinpoint
We-
accuracy is not true at all. It was only because of the number 7 flight feather that he hit anything.
No,
That's true.
That's
That's
100% true.
But his
It
form
had-
was on point, though. My God,
This
the
was-
lack of emotions that he had at the beginning of that, him wielding the knife, bashing his own head
The
in,
lack of
and
emotions
then
he had at the
going to-
beginning was him traumatized. His mom died, dude. That had nothing to do with him being
a
a
few
serial
years
killer.
later after that, he still was that way.
You
Which
think
I
it
get
just-
it. Parents
okay, you
take.
think-
I get it.
you think
A
it just
death-
get-
I get it. Chill. I get it. A loss is devastating, and it can take years and years, and you may never get over it.
Especially from a young kid.
I understand.
I don't know if you do.
I'm getting the preference here. I understand. However, that shit screamed future serial killer to me.
Like, dude, there's nothing about that screamed
To a degree,
serial killer.
the Rock incident did kind of give me that vibe a touch. Like when he did the thing with the Rock, I was like, bro, this guy's pretty unhinged, if you ask me. But the bow, I mean, like I said, the sister
just
mother
resourceful
came out
Bradley,
and
bro.
just
Yeah.
yeeted the perfect shot I've ever seen in my life. So back in that day, they must have been well versed with the bow. Okay.
But we didn't see her craft it out of fucking scraps from the kitchen and shit.
Well, it wasn't
The man
scraps.
was
He used bamboo and
No, and what are you talking about, bro?
wire.
I tried to make a
No,
bow
he
when I
got
was
something
that
for the
age.
paste for the feathering.
Well,
from
yeah,
the
sure,
kitchen.
but I
So,
think back in the
man's
day, people were just
man's
smarter.
getting creative and getting shit from the kitchen to forge his own weapons in that.
That would
Dude,
just be like
I
me
used to
going to
do
grab a
that.
tub of glue, okay? I bet everybody in the world knew that if you
I
chewed
get-
that stuff up and, like, it was sticky
Maybe
because
back
they didn't
then-
have
maybe
glue
that-
back then.
Maybe
So
back
they-
then. But I'm not skipping over what Kyle said in that. Kyle, I never said you weren't unhinged back in the day.
No,
you said
every
you used to do
kid
shit
used-
like
No,
that.
Every kid
yeah,
tries to
every
make
kid
a
goes-
bow
I
in the
didn't make-
backyard.
Yeah.
You try to find a
when you're
stick,
when
you
you're
try
up
to make
north-
a bow. Yeah, Kyle and
I
I
made it.
definitely did that.
Try.
Yes.
Try
I
is
had-
key word. Man-made. There's a difference.
No, I made
He had
okay.
the right resources. If Kyle and
Yeah,
I
he
had some
did.
bamboo,
Dude, I was-
we
yeah.
would have fucking made bows. Okay, we
I tried to
had
make
dry
mine out of
oak
pine. I tried to make-
sticks.
mine was pine, but yeah, I had a hatchet and pine, and I was trying to make fucking
Yeah.
arrows.
None of
and
it
all
was
that
as
shit.
springy as bamboo, okay?
No,
Also,
no.
I bet back in the day they were better at their knot work. Kyle and I didn't know how to make knots. You know,
Yeah.
like we were just trying our bestesses.